In this lesson, we will learn how to roll or bank objects along a path in Softimage. Softimage gives us a lot of control over banking objects along a path. Let's go ahead and take a look at our path properties. We can select our ship control, use Alt, up arrow to get to our global move group. Heading over to our Explorer, I'll now go ahead and frame the object, expand it, and underneath kinematics, constraints, we'll find our path constraint. All right, so now what we'll do is take a look at our up vector tab. Let's go ahead and choose Create New. And what that's going to do is create an up vector control for us. You'll find it closer to the center of the scene. All right, so with that, as we start to move this around, we can now control the orientation of our ship along the path. So this is one way to control a roll. You can see that the ship is always going to remain pointed at that object. Now, this may not be ideal in our case, simply because we'd have to find some way to rig this to the path so that it follows, making it more convenient to control the rolling of our airship. It's not necessary, but it would be very helpful if this object followed somehow. And that can get quite complex. So it does have advantages. You can, for complex rigs, work with this type of tool. But in our case, it won't do us any good. So let's say we go ahead and remove it. If we'd like to remove this object, it's just a matter of choosing Remove. We don't even have to have it selected because it's still tied to our path properties. So if we choose Remove, it's gone. Now, depending on when you remove the object, you might still notice a little bit of banking along the path. But no problem at all. Going back to our Up Vector tab, to correct this, it's just a matter of checking on Point Along Path Roll Frame Normal. That's going to reorient the ship to follow along the tangent normal of our curve. Now, with this off, notice the slant we get. Well, that's coming from our point at parameters. So when we were using that up vector control, these values were changing. So that's how we can control that point at direction. Let's go ahead and turn back on Point Along Path Roll Frame Normal and explore another way we can control the banking of this airship. We can basically use this roll parameter. So this might be better for us simply because we don't have to worry about rigging another object and controlling the roll that way. So let's go ahead and get to work. What I'll do is first set this to 0. And we'll head over to frame 1. Once on frame 1, it might be ideal to add a little bit of a slant in the negative direction, not much at all. Typically, when you're animating, you want to not animate at the start of your idea, but midway. So in our case, we can pretend as if the ship was already in flight. That's why we'd want to add more of a slant on our start frame. So your values match mine. I'll just use a value of -15. It was close enough to that on 1. And we can go ahead and create a roll key. Now we're getting to an extreme in our path, more of a curve. So let's have the ship curve out just a little bit more. We're going to have that happen at about frame 34. So on 34, we'll increase the roll in the negative direction, not much at all. Let's say about a value of -47 would work. So we'll go ahead and type that in and create another roll key. So now, in no time at all, our ship is banking nicely along the path. We have a few more keys to create. Let's go ahead and continue. We're getting to another extreme in our curve, so we'll need to have the ship bank in the opposite direction this time. So let's say we do that on frame 96. This time we'll change our value to something positive. I'd say about a value of 56 would work, so we'll go ahead and type that in, create our roll key. And now at the very end of the animation, we can remove some of the roll. So let's say about a value of 24. We'll put that in and create our last roll key. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this. Maybe change our camera view so that the ship kind of flies by for something more exciting. And we can go ahead and hit play. All right, excellent. So in this lesson, we have taken a look at some of the banking tools underneath our path properties. We have a lot of control, so it's up to you to decide how you would like to control this type of behavior. Something else I'd like to show you is how to tweak those keyframes. We should have an idea, but we'd want to go back to the global control, the object connected to our path, and then go to the animation editor. Now you'll notice a second F-curve under constraints. There's roll. We'll go ahead and choose that, press the F key, and now we can go ahead and start to tweak things if we'd like.